Hello everyone. One of the things I want to touch on today is our ability to identify and deeply recognize the nature of who we are, what we call who we really are, the awareness that we are, and so on. There is a character within me that has formed, but I still get hurt, and I can understand that it is only the character that gets hurt, but not really the divine awareness that everyone talks about. How do we bridge the gap between the knowledge or belief or some great depth of knowing what truly exists? And on the other hand, one could call it an inability. But I want to add more words, maybe a lack of access to this world or this dimension that I know, which is the dimension closer to who I am and not the character I think I am, or I'm used to thinking I am, or we are used to thinking we are. Let's say in a few words, the character is Gadi, and in this case each of us is invited now to take a look with me. I was born, I lived, and I learned that this is my name, this is my mother's name, this is my father's name. And why do I say I learned that this is the name? Because of course there are the people themselves and there are the deep relationships with them. But I learned that my name is one thing, and if they had called me by another name, then I would have learned that my name is something else. So that's already a small example of a persona and a life experience being created, and essentially some kind of way I relate to myself. So even if you understand logically that it could be that I would have been called Moshe since I was born, or Eli or whatever, let's say they called me just any name. What that means is that I don't have the ability right now to think about myself through all the experiences I've had, through like Ayal or Misha. There is no ability to do that, even though theoretically I understand it could be. Now there are several reasons for this, but it matters less why. It is more important to understand and acknowledge that my view of myself is actually identified with certain concepts, one of which is Gadi. Gadi as a name tells me that this is me and so on, and my body and my past and my history are fine. But by the same token, another name would obviously have represented the same thing, but I don't have the ability. It seems surreal to me that for all the experiences I've had, I would look at myself as Misha or Moshe or Michelle. I don't have the ability. Try for yourselves to imagine your lives when you look back and see your past through another name. It is very difficult, very unnatural, complicated. It can only be an idea that you can adopt for a moment, but nothing more than that. And right here in this little example lies our conversation or our difficulty in adopting what we know versus our life experience and the way we conduct ourselves. Actually, the whole way we work with life, part of the way we decode life and enjoy life, we must work with those representations. I must have a representation of rain, the word rain with the meaning of cold and so on. Because if I go out and it is raining and I am not dressed, then I will get sick and lose work and not advance things. We need the representation in order to function. And there are representations that are truly, we are very strongly attached to them. So we have an attachment to those representations. We return to the main axis, and the main axis says that it could be that if I recognize the nature of who I am, and I will understand more deeply the concept, for example, called presence or awareness, and it will not just be a concept or just something that I imagine then, because I will do that. I will have deeper access to the experience I want to have, to that deeper familiarity, to more expression of the nature of who I am. Allow yourselves a moment to breathe and feel. We want to try to address the following things. We want to address the fact that it is possible that our consciousness of what we are actually experiencing every single moment, what our experience is made of, plus the role of awareness or how it is woven in, that will be valuable. Because right now, if, for example, someone were to describe, if we asked them to describe their life experience, how they feel, how they are, then to one degree or another, most people, yes, no, not you, enlightened as you are. But let's talk about regular people, those who are less evolved than us. If we want to look at how they would describe the people, the experience, they would say to some extent, we would all say, we felt he said something to me, I said something. His words stirred a certain feeling in me. One will say his words hurt me. One will say his words stirred an experience in me. Another will say an experience was created within me. One will say I remembered another experience and it affected everything I felt. In other words, according to our levels of depth, we will know how to express you, how the experience was created by these or other words. No, we have not lacked words over the years. And the reason I mention this is because if you look at it, most people, most of us will see it through what we describe, the character I know. If my name is Gadi, then I will say, yes, Gadi spoke to him like this, and he spoke to Gadi like that, and then Gadi felt like this, and so on. Or I felt, and he did to me, and so on. I will say it and I will describe it. In other words, the experience will be described from the character that I am and am experiencing, and there is no problem with that. Just to say that in most cases we will not describe experiences as if the awareness that we are or the nature that we are is involved in it. And what that means is that a few things, either we are really antipathetic people, or we are unable to see the awareness or understand it or know what its connection is, or we really don't. For sure, we don't have the words, but the real reason, I think, is that we don't see the involvement of consciousness within the experience in the way we experience life. And because we don't recognize it and there aren't enough words for it and it's not something that's so visible, then what actually happens is that the awareness in our perception is not part of our experience, is not part of the way I experience and not part of the way I conduct my life. And in my eyes, this thing is created as a result of the lack of familiarity with the involvement or the presence of the consciousness that who we really are, how it is present, where it is present in every single experience. So let's try to imagine that the awareness that I am, we would really grasp deeply of who I am, or my nature, or some kind of super matter that is there all the time. If I were to add it to every experience I have, then something would already start to look different, appear different, feel different. In other words, in the way we interpret life, we perpetuate the absence of the awareness that we are. And this is one of our biggest challenges, because as long as we haven't seen the involvement of the awareness that we are in every single experience, we will continue to feel as if there is something we know, but it is not part of my life. And then it might truly not be part of my life because I didn't recognize it, didn't say it, and I don't see it, and so on. And it could be that it is part of my life, but I experience it as if it's not part of my life. A few possibilities that could be here. The real significance of taking the awareness that we are, exploring it and seeing how it is involved in every experience. And we don't need to go through every experience now, but rather look at one experience and approach it. Then we can actually make it more and more accessible in our daily lives. I hope this provides inspiration, and we will continue in the next part belonging to this episode. Bye for now.